The night the scar began to glow, I thought the moon goddess was punishing me. The annual crescent gathering was supposed to be a celebration, lanterns swaying in the wind, wolf song echoing through the stone courtyard, and every Omega standing in a long line to receive the pack's yearly blessing. But the moment I stepped into the torchlight, the whispers began, sharp, cutting, familiar. There she is. The cursed one. Look at her arm, it's unnatural. No wolf. No bond mark. Just that thing. I kept my head low, braid hanging over my shoulder, breath tight in my chest. The silver scar running up my forearm, thin as a vine, curling like a creeping moonlit branch, had always been faint. A reminder of the night rogues attacked my childhood village. A reminder that I survived when others didn't. But tonight, under the waning crescent moon, it pulsed with light. Soft. Silver. Alive. I felt the heat before I saw it, a warm thrum beneath my skin, as if something ancient had awakened. Gasps rippled through the courtyard. Wolves pulled their children close. Warriors shifted uneasily. And then I heard the words that cut deeper than claws. She shouldn't be here. She's dangerous. That glow, it's an omen. I curled my trembling fingers over the scar, trying to hide it, but the light spilled between them like liquid moonfire. My heart raced. My breath shattered. And then, the drum stopped. Every torch flickered. A hush rolled across the courtyard as an invisible force swept through the crowd. Wolves bowed their heads. Alphas straightened. The scent hit me first, cold pine, rain-soaked stone, and something metallic like ancient starlight. The Alpha King had arrived. And he was walking straight toward me. King Darius was not supposed to see me like this. He was supposed to sweep past the Omegas, offer his blessing from a distance, nod once, and disappear back into his throne hall of obsidian and silver. But the moment his boots hit the courtyard stones, he changed direction. Right toward the glow. Right toward me. Warriors parted around him. Every step he took was deliberate, a controlled force of dominance that made the air pulse. His black armor reflected the torchlight like wet ink. The silver wolf crest across his chest seemed almost to snarl with each breath he took. His eyes, sharp, glowing silver like a full moon, fixed on the light seeping through my fingers. Move! The single word cracked like thunder. The crowd scattered back as he approached, his gaze never once leaving my scar. My pulse hammered in my ears as he stopped only inches away. His presence wrapped around me, cold, powerful, ancient. A shiver crawled up my spine. Show me, he said softly. Not a command. A prophecy's whisper. I hesitated, but the bond one couldn't have, pulled me. Slowly, I lowered my hand. The scar flared. Silver light spiraled along my skin, branching like lightning, glowing brighter the closer he leaned. Gasps rose from every direction. Darius inhaled sharply, breath catching, pupils widening. By the goddess, he murmured. His voice wasn't fear. It was recognition. He reached out, not touching, but close enough that his warmth skimmed my skin. The light surged toward him as if drawn by his energy. No, he whispered, jaw tightening. It can't be. Your Majesty? A counselor called nervously. Darius turned his head slowly, expression darkening into something deadly. Bring the High Seer, he ordered. Immediately. The crowd erupted with panic. Because everyone knew. The High Seer was only summoned when a prophecy had awakened. The High Seer arrived in a flurry of robes and breathless urgency. Her eyes, clouded white and glowing faintly, studied the scar from several steps away. She didn't dare approach me until the Alpha King gave a single nod. Only then did she lift her trembling hands. No, she whispered before she even touched me. Moon Goddess preserve us. My stomach twisted. What does it mean? Her gaze snapped up, unsettled. Child, that mark has been dead for centuries. Cold slid down my spine. Dead? My scar? King Darius stepped closer, tension radiating from him. Tell us what it means. Now. The seer swallowed. When she spoke, her voice shook with reverence and fear. It is the Linares brand. The mark of the hidden heir. A stunned silence fell across the courtyard like snow. The words meant nothing to me, yet everything to everyone else. Wolves stiffened. Warriors reached for weapons they didn't know why they needed. Council members exchanged looks of dread. I forced breath into my chest. I'm no heir. I'm just an Omega. I don't even have a wolf. The seer shook her head. The brand chooses who carries the moon goddess's forgotten bloodline. The one destined to either save the kingdom. She lifted her trembling hand toward the Alpha King. Or destroy the throne. Darius's jaw clenched. His silver eyes locked onto mine, a storm brewing behind them. And in that moment, something ancient passed between us, something that made the air hum and my scar burn brighter. Something I wasn't ready to understand. Take her to the inner hall, he ordered quietly. I stumbled back. Wait, why? His voice dropped to a low, dangerous promise. Because every prophecy begins the same way, he said. With the kingdom trying to kill the one who carries it. The guards didn't grab me roughly, but their touch was firm, respectful yet terrified, as if I were a bomb that might detonate with a single wrong movement. The courtyard buzzed behind us, a hive of whispers and panic as the crowd tried to understand what they'd witnessed. A glowing scar. A forgotten prophecy. A king staring at an Omega like she held the kingdom's beating heart. My breath trembled as they guided me through the stone archway leading into the fortress. The great doors slammed shut behind us, sealing out the noise. The castle's inner hall rose around me like a cathedral of shadow and moonlight. Tall pillars carved with ancient runes, torches flickering in silver sconces, banners shivering with the faint breeze from unseen windows. I felt small. I felt exposed. I felt watched. King Darius followed only a step behind, silent, his aura a cold current brushing my back. Every instinct told me not to turn around, not to look directly at him. But another part of me, something deeper, hungered to understand why his presence felt like a tether pulling tight across my chest. When we reached the center of the hall, the guards released me. Darius dismissed them with a flick of his hand, and their footsteps faded into the distance. Then it was just him. And me. And the echo of our breathing in the vast chamber. He circled slowly, stopping in front of me, arms behind his back, posture rigid. What is your name? My voice cracked. Elara. Elara Wynn. Your pack? Stone Vale, or whatever is left of it. His jaw ticked. Destroyed by rogue wolves 9 years ago. Yes. I swallowed. I was the only survivor. A shadow crossed his features, not sympathy, recognition. And that night, he said, eyes flicking to my scar, did the mark appear? I nodded, breath shaking. But it didn't glow. It never did. Not until tonight. His gaze sharpened, studying every inch of me. Not in a crude way, more like a warrior assessing a weapon he didn't know if he should wield, or fear. You shouldn't be possible, he murmured. The Linares brand vanished from all bloodlines generations ago. I don't want it, I whispered, voice breaking. Whatever this is, whatever danger it brings, please take it away. He stepped closer. So close my breath caught. So close I could see faint silver flecks swirling in his irises like constellations. So close the heat of him brushed my skin. I cannot, he said. And neither can you. His hand rose, slowly, carefully, hovering above my scar but never touching. The air between his palm and my arm vibrated, humming like low thunder. The scar flared brighter. He inhaled sharply. Elara, he said quietly. Your presence alone shifts ancient law. Do you understand? You are now the most dangerous, and the most hunted Omega in the kingdom. My heart dropped. Then why bring me here? His silver gaze locked with mine, darkened by a decision he didn't want to make but had already accepted. Because, he said, voice low and final. The prophecy does not lie. He leaned in, his breath brushing my cheek like cold starlight. And the moment I saw your scar, I knew. A pause. A heartbeat. A truth heavy enough to shatter kingdoms. You were fated for me. My knees nearly buckled. Fated for him? For the Alpha King? It was impossible. Illegal. Unthinkable. I felt the words slam through me like a gust of winter wind. No, that can't be right. I don't have a wolf. I'm not a Luna. I'm not anything. Darius's gaze hardened. You think I don't recognize the pull of a bond? I've spent years searching for a sign, any sign, that the moon goddess hadn't abandoned my bloodline. But I can't feel anything, I whispered. Then why? He said softly, stepping closer. Is your breathing matching mine? I froze. He inhaled. I inhaled. He exhaled. I exhaled. Perfect sync. I backed away instinctively, but the air between us tightened like a thread. The hall dimmed at the edges, everything pulling into the quiet gravity of his presence. Darius didn't chase me, didn't have to. His voice followed like a shadow. You don't feel nothing, Elara. You're terrified of what you do feel. I stopped. The truth was a raw blade. Sharp. Undeniable. Because despite the fear twisting my stomach, something in me had reacted to him the moment he reached for my scar, something ancient and fierce and impossible to name. It isn't fair, I said, shaking. You're a king. I'm an Omega with a curse no one understands. He studied me with a depth that made my skin warm. Curses and gifts are the same thing, only intention changes their shape. I swallowed hard. But your throne will burn before I let them touch you. The words landed like a vow carved into stone. Then the hall doors burst open. A messenger stumbled inside, face pale. Your Majesty! The council demands your presence. The prophecy sigils on the palace walls have begun to glow. They say the kingdom is. His eyes darted to me. Fear turned to horror. Sire, she must be secured. Before the other alphas learn. Darius moved before I could blink. One hand slammed against the messenger's chest, pinning him to the wall with supernatural strength. Finish that sentence, he growled, and I'll show you what true fear is. The messenger trembled. I stared, breath catching. He was defending me. Claiming me. Choosing me. Even though he shouldn't. Even though it risked the throne. He released the messenger with a shove. Tell the council I'll address them when I decide. The messenger fled. Darius turned back to me, eyes dark with a storm I could feel in my bones. You're staying by my side, he said. No matter who tries to take you. My pulse thundered. Why are you doing this? His jaw flexed. For a decade, the prophecy whispered of a scar glowing like moonfire. He stepped closer, slow, deliberate. But it didn't mention the part no one else could feel. My breath tangled. What part? He lifted his hand, hesitating, fighting the instinct, and finally let his fingertips graze mine. A spark shot up my arm. The scar blazed. The bond thrummed. Darius exhaled as if he'd been waiting years for that one touch. That she would feel like home. I flinched at the warmth rushing through me, terrified not of the Alpha King, but of myself. The bond. The pull. The certainty in his eyes. But the moment shattered when heavy footsteps thundered down the hall. The doors slammed open again. This time not a messenger, but 5 armored wolves of the High Council. Their cloaks were marked with silver crescents, eyes blazing with judgment. The tallest stepped forward. Your Majesty, he said, voice cold. The Omega is to be detained immediately under pack law. Darius's posture straightened, lethal calm settling over him. On whose authority? On all of ours, the counselor snapped. That scar marks her as a threat to the throne. My blood ran cold. Darius stepped in front of me so quickly I barely saw the movement. She is under my protection. She may be the heir of ruin, another counselor hissed. The one destined to destroy the kingdom. She is a girl, Darius countered sharply. Barely more than a survivor of tragedy. And prophecy does not care for her age, the counselor shot back. Hand her over. The hall vibrated with the Alpha King's rising power, wind stirring, torches bending toward him. No. The council stiffened at the force behind that single word. She is mine, Darius said. By fate. By prophecy. By bond. A bond that shouldn't exist. A bond one felt trembling inside me. Then you leave us no choice, the head counselor growled. By decree of the Pack Council, we challenge your claim. Darius inhaled slowly, dangerously. You want a challenge? His voice dropped to a deadly whisper. Then come take her. A low growl echoed through the hall as warriors stepped in behind the council. The torches flickered violently from the pressure of clashing powers. My heart thudded. A war was about to break out. Because of me. Darius glanced back at me once, eyes full of iron and something far softer. Stay behind me. But the council wasn't here to fight. Not yet. The head counselor lifted a scroll, unrolling it with a snap. We invoke Blood Moon Trial. 3 days from now. If the prophecy is false, the Omega will be executed. My breath died in my chest. Executed. Because of a scar I never asked for. I felt the world tilt until a warm hand closed around my wrist. Darius's voice broke through the terror, sharp and fierce. Over my dead body. The council's footsteps faded down the corridor, leaving a silence so heavy it pressed into my ribs. I couldn't move. Couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. Executed. 3 days. Bound to a prophecy no one understood. My knees trembled, and I swayed before I even felt myself falling. A strong hand caught my arm. Darius pulled me upright with a steadiness that contradicted the storm inside him. His power pulsed like a heartbeat against my skin, controlled, contained, but far from calm. Elara, he said quietly. Look at me. I tried. But fear blurred everything. I'm going to die, I whispered. No. His voice cut through the panic like a blade. I will not allow that. But you can't stop the Blood Moon Trial, I said, breath shaking. You know the law. Even kings can't. A muscle ticked in his jaw. I have broken greater laws than this. That's not comforting. I'm not trying to comfort you, he said, stepping closer, the space between us charged with heat. I'm telling you the truth. I will not let the council take you. Not while I still breathe. His certainty wrapped around me like a cloak, warming the places that had been cold for too long. You don't know me, I whispered. I know enough. You don't know what this scar means. I know it chose you. You don't know if I'm dangerous. His fingers brushed mine, just once, just lightly, but the bond snapped tight between us, humming low in our chests. If you were meant to destroy me, he said softly, I would still protect you. My breath caught. Why? He exhaled, a quiet sound full of restraint, and lifted his hand to my cheek, hesitating before letting his thumb brush the corner of my jaw. Because the moment your scar glowed, he murmured, the prophecy wasn't what I feared anymore. His silver eyes locked on mine. It was losing you before I could understand why fate brought you here. Heat spread through me, fear and longing tangled together. His touch fell away before it lingered too long, but the warmth remained like an imprint on my skin. Darius straightened, stepping back. Come. There's something you need to see. Where are we going? To the Lunar Archives, he said. If the Council wants to weaponize prophecy, then we'll understand it first. I hesitated. Is that allowed? Absolutely not. Then we'll get in trouble. He glanced at me over his shoulder, lips lifting in the faintest ghost of a smirk. Elara, we're well past trouble. The deeper we went into the fortress, the colder the air became. Torches lined the ancient stone walls, each flame flickering blue instead of gold. The scent of old parchment and dust filled the narrow stairwell. Only the royal bloodline can enter the archives, Darius said as we descended. The council would riot if they knew I was bringing someone else. Then why risk it? Because the fate of the kingdom is written in these walls, and now, so is yours. The stairs curved into a vast chamber of silver-lit darkness. Moonstone pillars rose like frozen beams of light. Dozens of circular platforms floated in the air, each holding ancient scrolls bound with silver thread. The lunar archives. The heart of prophecy. I stepped forward, breath catching. This place, it feels alive. It is, Darius said. The moon goddess speaks through these writings. Each prophecy shifts, grows, adapts as the kingdom changes. And mine? I whispered. He lifted his hand, and one platform drifted toward him, lowering into his grasp like a bowing creature. He unsealed the scroll carefully. A soft glow spilled from the parchment. His brow furrowed as he read. The Lunaris brand, bearer of the hidden bloodline, destined to alter the throne's path. My stomach twisted. Alter, I repeated. That could mean anything. It could mean saving. It could mean destroying. It could mean both. He didn't respond. Instead, he traced the scroll with his finger, until the glow intensified and revealed a hidden line beneath the rest. His breath caught. What? I whispered. What does it say? He didn't answer right away. His silver eyes shifted to me, slow, sharp, conflicted. Finally, he spoke. When the scar awakens, he read, voice tight. The throne's fate binds to the one who holds the Alpha King's heart. My chest stilled. That's impossible. Darius closed the scroll with deliberate calm, jaw tightening. It means the council was right about one thing. What? He stepped closer, gaze locking with mine. You are now the kingdom's most powerful secret. My heartbeat pounded against my ribs. The one who holds the Alpha King's heart. It couldn't be referring to me. It couldn't, except the bond thrumming between us made denial feel foolish. The archives, the prophecy, the glow. It was all circling back to something I wasn't ready to face. Darius, I whispered, I don't want your heart. I never asked for any of this. He shook his head, stepping close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating from him. I'm not asking you to take it. Then what does this mean? His gaze softened, just barely. It means if the council discovers this line, they'll use it to destroy us both. They'll claim you're manipulating fate. That you're a threat to the throne. And I. He looked away, jaw clenching. I would be forced to choose between crown and prophecy. And you'd choose the throne, I said quietly. His silence was sharp. But not confirming. Not denying. I didn't know which answer terrified me more. We need to keep that line secret, he said finally. No one outside this room can know. Not the council. Not the seer. Not even my generals. But the glowing scar, everyone saw. The scar marks you. His voice dropped. But only one thing binds prophecy to a king's heart. My breath hitched. The bond. And if they suspect it's forming, he said, they'll assume you're meant to kill me, or control me. That's not true. I know. But intention doesn't matter in politics. Fear does. A chill ran through me. Then what do we do? Darius stepped back, pacing like a wolf trapped in a cage. We prepare for the blood moon trial. And we hide every sign of the bond. How? I asked. I feel it every time you look at me. His steps faltered. Slowly he turned toward me, eyes glowing not with power, but with something vulnerable and unguarded. You feel it too. It wasn't a question. It was confirmation. A truth neither of us wanted to say out loud. I swallowed. It's impossible not to. His voice roughened. Then we need distance. I thought you said I had to stay by your side. You do. He exhaled sharply. Which means the bond will only strengthen. My pulse fluttered. He stepped closer, too close, and brushed a loose strand of hair from my cheek. The bond surged so fiercely the scar flared again. Elara, he whispered. If we're not careful, the kingdom will see what I already know. What is that? His reply was barely audible. That fate didn't choose you to kill me. A breath. A tremor. A confession edged with fear. It chose you to change me. The next morning, the palace felt different. The same stone corridors, the same banners, the same distant howls from the training grounds below. But now every glance that brushed over me carried something sharper than simple curiosity. Suspicion. Fear. Calculation. Word of the Linares brand had spread like wildfire. Darius kept me close. He walked half a step ahead of me through the inner courtyard, his presence a shield that made warriors straighten and servants bow. Even the high battlements seemed to hold their breath as we crossed toward the training arena, where steel clashed and wolves barked orders through the cold air. What are we doing here? I asked, wrapping my cloak tighter around myself. The wind carried scents of sweat, dust, and the wild musk of half-shifted wolves. He didn't slow. 3 days from now, the blood moon will rise. The council will do everything they can to prove you're a threat. I'm not a fighter. You're alive, he said. That's enough. We stepped onto the packed dirt ring. Warriors paused mid-spar, eyes locking on their king and the strange Omega at his side. Darius raised a hand, dismissing them. Then he turned to me. You said your pack was destroyed by rogues, he said. You survived. By accident, I muttered. I hid in a cellar. There was nothing brave about it. There is nothing cowardly about wanting to live. His gaze flicked to my scar, still faintly glowing under the morning light. The blood moon trial isn't always combat, he continued. Sometimes it is demonstration. I don't understand. The council will try to force your power to the surface, he said. To make you lose control. To frighten the kingdom into agreeing with them. I swallowed. What power? That's what we're going to find out. My feet froze. Here? Now? His lips twitched in what might have been a hint of dark humor. Would you prefer the middle of the throne hall during your trial? I glared at him before I could stop myself. The corner of his mouth rose a fraction. There she is, he murmured. The girl who survived when fate tried to erase her. Before I could reply, he held out his hand. Trust me, Elara. The bond pulsed between us. I placed my palm in his. Warmth surged through my veins as he gently turned my arm, exposing the scar. His other hand hovered just above it, the air humming with restrained power. Close your eyes, he said. Why? Because your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. My throat tightened. Still I obeyed. The courtyard faded. The wind, the murmurs, the watching warriors, all fell away as Darius's voice coaxed memories I'd buried deep. Remember the night your pack fell, he said softly. The scent of smoke. Of blood. The sound of howls turning to screams. Pain flickered behind my ribs. I don't want to. You must, he whispered. Not to drown in it. To reclaim it. Images surfaced, sharp and staggering. Flaming rooftops. Claws scraping wood. Blood smeared across moonlit snow. And then? He asked, voice low. What did you feel when you thought you would die? My chest heaved. Alone. The scar burned. Listen to me, Elara, he said. You were not alone. The moon goddess marked you. She carved her crescent into your skin and said, not yet. My eyes flew open. The scar blazed silver-white. Warriors gasped, stumbling back as the air thickened, the very ground seeming to hum. Darius's fingers tightened around mine, but not in fear, in awe. Good, he breathed. Now breathe. Don't fight it. Shape it. How? Focus on one thing, he said. One person. One thought you anchor yourself to. The bond swelled between us, threading warmth through the terror. Without meaning to, I locked onto him. On his scent of pine and storm. On the steadiness in his eyes. On the way his voice softened only when he said my name. The glow steadied. It didn't explode. Didn't lash out. It wrapped around my arm like living moonlight, coiling and pulsing in time with my heartbeat. I'm not breaking anything, I whispered. No. Darius's voice was full of quiet pride. You're controlling it. For the first time since it appeared, the scar felt less like a curse. And more like a choice. By midday, the fortress buzzed with rumor. I heard fragments as I walked the corridors under Darius's protection. Saw her in the arena. The scar lit the whole ring. If the moon goddess chose an Omega, what does that mean for the Luna trials? I paused at that. Luna trials? I asked as we turned a corner. Darius's jaw set. Ignore them. I can't ignore something that might get me killed. He sighed, rubbing the bridge of his nose for a moment, the king's mask slipping just enough to reveal the tired man beneath. The council has been pressing for years, he said. They want me to choose a Luna from the high houses. A political bond. Safe. Predictable. And you haven't? His gaze slid to me, unreadable. The bond never answered. My wolf refused them. Heat crept up my neck. And now? No, he said quietly. My wolf won't stop pacing. We stepped into a small balcony overlooking the western training field. The kingdom stretched beyond the walls. Forests dark and vast, a river glinting like a silver ribbon, villages clustered like candle flames. This kingdom needs stability, he said. The Pack Council believes a Luna from their bloodlines will guarantee that. If they discover the bond tying us together, they'll call me unworthy, I finished. They'll call you a threat to their power. I leaned against the cool stone railing, staring at the distant tree line. What do you call me? Silence. The wind tugged at his cloak. Finally, he spoke. Unexpected, he said. Dangerous. Inconvenient. I flinched, until his hand brushed mine, knuckles barely touching. And necessary, he added softly. Like the first storm after a drought. My heart stuttered. He straightened, mask of the Alpha King sliding back into place. For now, you will remain in the guest wing. Do not leave without a guard. Do not engage the council alone. And if any rival Alpha tries to speak with you. Rival Alpha? I echoed. News of you has likely reached them by now, he said. There are those who would rather claim the Linares brand for themselves, or spill your blood to keep prophecy from favoring my throne. A shiver ran through me. So I'm bait. Or a prize. His silver eyes flashed. You are not a thing to be hunted or traded. Tell that to the Blood Moon trial. His expression darkened. I intend to. Before I could ask what that meant, a horn sounded from the outer wall, 3 short blasts. Darius stiffened. Stay here. Why? What is it? He moved toward the door, every line of his body shifting from reluctant confidant to relentless king. We have visitors. Who? He glanced back, eyes now cold and sharp as steel. The first rival Alpha. From the balcony, I watched the outer gates grind open with a slow, ominous groan. Snow swirled in from the valley, riding the wind like ghosts. A formation of riders entered. Black armor, red cloaks, wolves emblazoned on their shields in crimson. Their leader dismounted with predatory grace. Even from this distance, I could smell him, iron, smoke, and something bitter. His aura pressed against the fortress like a challenge. Alpha Cade of Bloodridge! A guard muttered nearby, clearly unaware I could hear. Of course he would be the first. The name rippled through the watching soldiers in wary whispers. I studied him carefully. Cade was tall, shadow-cut, with a scar across his jaw that looked more like a carved rune than an injury. His eyes glowed an amber red, colder than any winter. He smiled up at Darius on the wall as if they were old friends. They were not. Darius appeared above the gate, cloak snapping in the wind. Bloodridge is far from its territory, he called down. What brings you to my kingdom, Cade? Cade's smile widened. Rumor travels fast, your majesty. I heard there's a new star rising in your sky. My stomach twisted. He knows. I don't recall inviting you, Darius said. You didn't, Cade replied pleasantly. But when prophecy wakes, all alphas have the right to bear witness. Isn't that what your own law states? Murmurs spread along the walls. Darius's eyes narrowed. It gives you the right to request audience, he said. Not to stride into my courtyard unannounced like a conquering hero. Cade bowed with exaggerated courtesy. Then let me formally request audience. Just a brief one. I would love to meet the girl with the glowing scar. Every instinct screamed. I felt eyes shift toward the balcony where I hid. Cade's gaze flicked upward, almost lazily, scanning the walls. Our eyes met. The bond within me recoiled, not in recognition but in warning. His smile sharpened. There, he murmured. Found her. Darius followed his gaze, saw me, and his expression turned lethal. Return to your territory, Cade, he said. The Blood Moon trial is a royal matter. As is succession, Cade replied. And if the Linares brand marks an heir, every alpha has a stake in knowing who she truly is. He spread his hands. Surely you won't hide her away like a secret, your majesty. Unless you're afraid of what she might reveal. The challenge hung in the air, heavy and poisonous. Darius's jaw clenched. For a heartbeat, I saw the war inside him. Protect me, or prove strength. Shield me, or show them I wasn't a weakness he was hiding. His eyes met mine. What do you want? They seemed to ask. Fear not at me. But so did something uglier, the memory of being mocked, dismissed, treated as nothing. I straightened. Let him see me, I whispered, knowing he couldn't hear, but hoping Darius could read my lips. His gaze softened, just for a moment. Then he lifted his chin. Fine, he said coldly. You want to meet her? He gestured to the inner gate. Then you'll do it under my roof. Under my rules. The great hall felt colder than the snow outside. I stood at the base of the throne steps, flanked by 2 royal guards, my scar hidden under a long sleeve. Torches flickered along the walls, illuminating banners marked with the crescent moon and wolf sigil of the royal bloodline. At the top of the steps, on the obsidian throne carved from volcanic stone, sat Darius, every inch the Alpha King now. Crown of dark metal resting lightly on his brow, cloak pooling like shadow, eyes silver-hard. The hall doors opened. Alpha Cade strode in as if he owned the place. His gaze swept the room, lingering only briefly on the counselors clustered behind the throne before landing squarely on me. So, he drawled, this is the Omega causing such a stir. He approached with a lazy, unconcerned gait that didn't match the tension in his eyes. I straightened, refusing to shrink even as his aura pushed against my skin like pressure before a storm. You may address her as Elara, Darius said coolly. And you will keep your distance. Cade chuckled. Protective, Majesty? How charming! His gaze flicked to my covered arm. May I see it? No, Darius snapped. Cade ignored him and took another step closer. The guards crossed their weapons, blocking his path. He stopped, raising his hands in mock surrender. Very well, he said. I'll just have to trust the stories then. A glowing scar. A forgotten mark. The Linares brand returned. His eyes glittered. That makes her valuable. I'm not an object, I said, the words spilling out before I could overthink them. Cade's attention snapped back to me, studying my face with renewed interest. Oh? Then what are you, little Omega? My pulse pounded. I could feel Darius's gaze like a touch between my shoulder blades, steady, grounding. I'm someone who survived what should have killed me, I said quietly. And I'm really tired of men acting like that's an invitation to a bidding war. A surprised silence followed. Then Cade laughed. Not kindly. But not entirely cruel either. There's spirit in you, he said. Good. You'll need it. His smile faded as he looked up at Darius. You know the council won't accept this, Majesty. An unshifted Omega with a prophecy mark? They will rip her apart to see what lies underneath. That's why, Darius said. She will be defended. By you alone? Cade tilted his head. You might be the Alpha King, but even a king can bleed. His words were harmless on the surface. The threat beneath them was not. Cade's gaze drifted back to me, something calculating flickering in his eyes. Here is my proposal, he said. When the blood moon rises, and the trial begins, everyone will want a piece of you. The council. The high houses. The rogues hiding in the shadows beyond these walls. You can cling to a single throne. His eyes slid to Darius. Or you can make friends with other wolves. I frowned. You think you're a friend? I think, Cade said smoothly, you might survive longer with more than one alpha keeping an eye on you. Darius rose from his throne. The hall temperature dropped. You will not circle her like prey, he said, words edged in ice. You will not speak as though she has any future beyond this kingdom. Cade's smile sharpened. Careful, Majesty. That sounds like jealousy. Our bond thrummed, hot and bright, rattling against my ribs. Darius descended the steps slowly, each footfall echoing like a drumbeat. It sounds like truth, he said. She bears the mark of an heir. Her fate is tied to the royal bloodline. Not yours. Are you sure? Cade asked softly. He wasn't looking at Darius anymore. He was looking at me. You wear his colors, Cade said. Stand by his throne. Trust his promises. But what has the crown given you, Elara, except a beautiful cage? My breath caught. He took half a step closer, eyes glinting. The blood moon trial is meant to test whether prophecy serves the throne or threatens it. If the council decides he's the danger, not you, do you really think they'll hesitate to tear him down instead? Enough, Darius growled. Cade's voice dropped, low and intimate. If you ever decide you want protection from him as much as from them, he murmured, Bloodridge will answer. The implication slid through the room like a blade. He bowed to Darius, the picture of false courtesy. Thank you for the audience, Your Majesty. I look forward to the trial. With that, he turned and walked out, leaving a trail of unease behind him. The hall doors shut. Silence fell. I realized I was shaking only when Darius's hand closed gently around my elbow. Don't listen to him, he said. I looked up at him, heart pounding, scar thrumming with the bond's glow just beneath my skin. He's wrong, Darius said quietly. About what? I asked. His silver eyes held mine, haunted, fierce, aching. You're not in a cage, he whispered. You're in the only place I can keep you alive. For a moment, the king's mask cracked entirely. And I saw not just an alpha defending his throne, but a man terrified of losing the one thing fate had finally given him. The blood moon rose like a wound in the sky. Its red light spilled through the high windows of the throne hall, trembling across stone, banners, and faces filled with tension. Hundreds gathered. Council members in silver cloaks, warriors in armor, Omegas pressed together near the back, and Alphas from distant territories watching with predatory stillness. And I stood alone at the center. My scar glowed like molten moonlight beneath my sleeve. My pulse hammered like a drum. I could feel Darius somewhere behind me, close enough that the bond tugged toward him, far enough that the council could pretend I wasn't feeling him at all. The High Seer lifted her staff. The blood moon trial begins. A ripple swept through the hall. Step forward, Omega, she commanded. My legs trembled, but I moved. The glow intensified beneath my skin, heat spreading through my arm and chest as if something ancient stirred to life. The Linares brand awakens only in the presence of destiny. The seer continued. Show us your truth. The council leaned in. Cade watched with hungry interest. Darius stood tense, jaw clenched, as if one wrong word would shatter him. I raised my arm. The scar lit the hall with a radiant, silver flare. Gasps erupted. Some shielded their eyes. Others stumbled back. Even the seer froze, breath catching. "The prophecy," she whispered. "It's reacting." But the light didn't lash out. It didn't burn or break or destroy. It pulsed. Soft. Warm. Steady. And then, it reached for him. A beam of silver drifted through the air, thin as a thread, connecting my scar to Darius's chest. It glowed at the center of his armor, directly over his heart. Silence. Ah. Shock. Even Cade's expression faltered. Darius inhaled, eyes widening as the thread tightened, brightened, shimmered with a power older than any kingdom. The seer dropped to her knees. "Moon goddess, save us," she breathed. "The prophecy binds not to the throne, but to the Alpha King's heart." Whispers exploded through the hall. "What does it mean? Is she the Luna? Is she the heir? Is she the one destined to save us?" The counselors exchanged frantic looks. One shouted, "This cannot stand. She is unshifted, she is an Omega, she is nothing but—" The floor rumbled. The glow surged, swirling up my arm, around my body, wrapping me in silver like a cloak. The air pulsed with a force I couldn't control but didn't fear. The seer stood shakily, eyes wide. "She is not a threat," she declared. "She is the balance. The heir of light. The one who bridges fate and power. The one who changes the Alpha King so the kingdom may survive." The hall descended into chaos. Some cheered. Some argued. Some bowed. But Darius walked straight to me, ignoring every voice but the bond that guided him. He stopped inches away. "No crown. No armor. Just the man. Elara," he said softly, "you choose what happens next. If you want to walk away, I will protect your freedom. If you want to stay, you will rewrite every law beside me." My breath trembled. The bond hummed like a heartbeat shared. I reached up, touching his chest, right where the silver thread met his heart. "I choose you," I whispered. The bond flared, bright, blinding, beautiful. The blood moon dimmed. The hall fell silent. And the prophecy settled into place like a final, perfect piece of fate. A king reborn. A kingdom changed. An Omega no longer hidden in the shadows. I stepped closer, voice steady. "And I choose this kingdom." Darius closed his eyes, exhaling for the first time in what felt like years. "Then," he murmured, "my Luna, welcome home." The hall erupted, but all I felt was the warmth of his hand closing around mine, and the scar shifting from silver to soft moonlight, as if it had finally found peace. As if I had too. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and comment what part you loved the most. More Alpha and Omega stories are coming very soon. Sleep well, and I'll see you in the next one.